Coming up in this episode, a customer is given some wrong advice by a previous company and left with the wrong type of extinguishers, and I check out some massive drill bits and cool machines. This is the Ant Vlog, episode 6. It is the new year. Happy New Year to everyone. It's Friday the 3rd of January, and I don't know where my phone is. So, yeah. Not done any customers. I don't think I've really been anywhere that's of interest. Maybe done a couple of errands. Oh God, that sunshine is bright and I can't see. Yeah, so it's Friday the 3rd of January today. Got a couple of jobs to do today. Got to go and do these fire extinguishers. It's going to be a very fire extinguisher heavy week or two. There's stuff going on as well in the business. Where did we leave off? So the last video, I think we were chasing money and it was that sort of pre-Christmas week. Now I came in during the Christmas break. Nobody else was in, but I come in and I tidied up that mess of a workshop. We got that back on top. I hate having untidy, like messy workshop, messy van. Everything gets so chaotic, and the business suffers when everything's kind of like not organised and not tidy. It doesn't have to be like super organised. Like if it was up to me, like if I could wave a magic, if it was up to me and I could wave a magic wand, I'd have like a Formula 1 style setup where I'd have drawers upon drawers, like really expensive metal drawers upon drawers with you pull out and everything's laid out and everything's organised. But the reality is, a business our size, we can't possibly do something like that. But keeping it tidy makes a world of difference. Absolutely, it's an insane amount of difference. Just being able to keep on top of everything. When everything's upside down like it was, everything's kind of chucked in corners, and just going through stuff. Had a little bit of tidy up, organised some stuff. So yes, tidied the workshop, sorted that out. Like I said, van's booked in on Monday, so that's like general business stuff. That's the service, MOT. Hopefully going to get the sump done. There's a slight oil leak on the sump, which I've been kind of like putting a patch over for now, just keep putting oil in it. But that's getting done. I've told him I need a new sump tray, and that's the other thing. I was going to do it myself, but this time of year it's so cold, and then with the workshop the unit being so full of crap like it was, I just not had a chance. So ideally I want to bring the van into that loading bay and get it up and do it myself. So I just didn't, which would have saved me some money, but also been very busy. So it's always better from a business point of view to pay people to do the jobs. When you're earning money, you go and earn your money and then pay people to do the jobs that they do. Should work, in theory, work out cheaper. So like I say, extinguisher heavy today. We had a few of those customers. So pre-Christmas, we had quite a lot of people not paying that. Typically, most businesses, particularly businesses that are business to business or always business to business, when it gets to that Christmas period, people don't pay. If you do work in November that's due in November or due to be paid in November, due to be paid end of November, typically they won't pay at the end of November, and then it'll get to December, and then you're chasing them. And I don't know what happens. I think there's a couple of things that happens. I think for some businesses, they just see it as brilliant. It's a opportunity to have some free credit, and they're like, that doesn't ruin a relationship really, because everybody kind of does it. It's kind of like a bit of a given, which is a bit annoying. I don't think everyone should do it. So there's that, but also there's like I think some businesses just genuinely go, it gets to Christmas, it gets to that December time, and all the accounts departments and all the office departments just start like winding down and start thinking about lots of other things, and they start organising year ends, and they're focusing on year ends, they're focusing on all those year end meetings, bonuses and making all those plans, and we just get pushed down the priority list. And then ultimately as well, they're not working a full month. I imagine people in bigger companies having holidays. Some people go off in Christmas, don't they? They have a week off. in December, or they have some time off to go do stuff, and it just doesn't get done. So as a business, and if you're a small business out there watching these videos, and I don't know what size you're at, and you're getting into this game, or you're looking at going out on your own, or whatever it may be, historically, when it gets to sort of September, October, you have to start planning. You have to be ahead of the game. So you have to start getting work in, moving things forward to try and get things in so you can get paid. And then what you want is a nice payday in January. So now, hopefully, we're going into January, and all that work and all those people we're chasing, we're now at the top of the list now. So there's still a fair bit outstanding, but we did get quite a few pay over Christmas, a few bigger ones paid, which was nice. And that's helped things out and took a lot of pressure off, because it was getting a bit mental. Like, it was getting into the tens of thousands of pounds, which for us is for anybody, it's a lot of money, isn't it? So, but yeah, it was getting into the tens of thousands of pounds that people were owing us, and not paying, and they were like due in like November, October, November, December. So still a few outstanding, but we're looking a lot better, and we've got work booked in and stuff like that. So I'm hoping things. I mean, it also doesn't help massively. It doesn't help the economy at the minute. And so when you get people not paying, even though it's December, and you can tell yourself that this is usual, people always like pay a bit slow in December, etc. It doesn't help. Then every single time you pick up your phone or put the news on or see a news article, it's about Keir Starmer, it's about the government, it's about the economy, it's about the budget, it's about how bad everything is, and you do start panicking a little bit and worrying. So that is the state of the world today. So anyway, that's my rant. What I was going to say, whilst at this job as well, there's another customer on the same little mini business park, and I can't remember last time we went in, and I'm just going to double check whilst we're there, because I've got a feeling we've not been out to service them, which either they've stopped using us, maybe they're not there anymore, maybe they've changed to this customer name, because it feels like it's the same address, and maybe they just changed names, which is why I'm confused. But usually we do the fire alarm at the same time. So anyway, we're going to nip into co-op, get my lunch for the day, and then we'll get to this job. Right, I've arrived, and it's not actually the place I thought it was. It is. I didn't come here last year. Ayrton came last time. My colleague, he came into this service this time. I was thinking it was on the little business park around the corner. And there's a company there that we haven't been to for a while, and I haven't got any signal, so I can't look up on the system. Sometimes we have actually been in the last 12 months, and it's just not on the system for whatever reason. But I'm gonna check it up, because I've got a feeling there's a few like that have slipped through the net. I think I need to go through everything, because I think there's ones where we're emailing people, and because they're not replying straight away, we're slipping through the net a little bit. Sorry, there's a dude. That hire truck obviously just dropped something off, and he was down there for ages, and I was trying to find somewhere to park, and now he's gone. And now, do I move or do I stay here? I think it might be easy to stay here. Right, I'm gonna got new colours. We're on red tags this year. We have changed to red. So all these lovely green tags, I've got to get rid of them, which is going to make a bit of a mess, which I don't want to do. But yeah, red tags this year, and I've got to write 26 instead of 25. Quite interesting here. It's literally just a couple of sheds. We've only got 2 extinguishers. Now, I've not been out before. Right, number 1. I've not been out here before. But we've only got a couple of CO2s. They should really have A-class cover. It's a bit of a tricky one. That's quite interesting. Really, really small little outfit. Just a couple of sheds, quite literally a couple of sheds, just in a village. Roofline, they're a roofing company. But what is notable, they've got a couple of big Cali gas bottles. Now, I don't know if that's for heating, because it is in the middle of nowhere. There's a lot of wood everywhere, a lot of timber. There's no A-class cover. Now, usually, for small businesses, I do use a bit of a common sense approach when it comes to A-class cover, because sometimes you can go to a small business and you can get to a big national company, and what you find is a big national company has told them, you know, they need all this, that and the other. And if you go by the letter of the law, yeah, often you do. You need a minimum of 2 A-class, so like 2 foams, 2 waters, 2 powders, something like that. Something that's got an A-class rating, like per floor, per so many square meters. Now, what's quite tricky is often we go to places like hair salons, little accountancy firms, places where having 2 A-class extinguishers is overkill. So we would go with like a water and a CO2. Now, 99% of the time, you're going to be using the CO2, because 99% of the time, in most of those sorts of environments, the fire risk is going to come from an electrical fault or electrical risk, usually. However, they've got 2 big Calagas bottles. They've got a lot of timber. I had a quick walk in the yard very quickly. There's a lot of timber, some sort of other shed. Maybe it's like a little bit of a small holding. I don't know if it's shared access. I don't know. It could certainly do with a fire risk assessment to kind of ascertain and assess all that was going on. That's why the fire risk assessment is so important, especially in an environment like that. I walked in there was like, I counted 4 or 5 people. I'd suspect they've got more people going out and about on jobs. Small business, but if you've got 4 people in an office, then that's managing more people on the road. So it's a smallest business, but there's a few people working there. And yes, CO2s are fine for the office around, but all that wood and all that timber, if they had a small fire and they use the CO2s on it, it's just going to blow all that wood everywhere, blow all the timber, blow all the fibres everywhere. So really, outside, I would actually put some powders out there. So I'm going to make some recommendations to them. I think it's going to be interesting to see what they say. There's like 3 or 4 sheds there. You could argue that each shed needs a bit of cover. I personally would put an outdoor box and a couple of powders, and that covers that whole yard. That's how I would assess that. But also, just going to the fire risk assessment element, I think they could do with the fire risk assessment, because things like the Calagas bottles, there was 1 in one shed, there was 1 round the corner, those gas bottles, and they really need to be put in one location in a cage. We need to assess what they're for, what they're used for. Is it heating? It's a roofing company, so it's probably roofing gas, you know, the gas bottles that they take out on site, stuff like that they use for blow torches, for the tar and things like that. So we just need to assess that. Now, this is where a lot of people, I think, get a bit what's the word, like it's where a lot of people get like worried and uptight and scared of the fire risk assessment, because they feel like, oh my god, he's finding out all these things. It's not about that. It's about recognizing those risks are already there. They've already been found out. You writing them all down and going, right, we've got gas bottles, what do we need to do with them, what should we do with them? You're showing to anybody that has to look that you're paying attention, that you're being responsible, that you have assessed it, that you've looked at it and you've gone, actually, we keep all this in our yard, this is what we keep in our yard, this is what we think is a risk, this is what we think isn't a risk, this is what we think we should do with this. And by writing that down, also, it's a process that the business themselves should go through, and it's useful for them to go through, because they'll start thinking about things and going, yeah, do you know what? Maybe we should put the gas bottles together, having the gas bottles spread about across the yard. And I suspect as well, there's a good chance when I flag this up, I guarantee they'll probably say something, oh, they're empty ones. They're empty ones. The full ones we keep here. Again, that's what you need. If fire brigade turned up to that site, they don't know if those gas bottles are empty or full. They don't know what's empty or full. So having things properly designated, put in the right location with a sign on it, just helps. And also, anybody else coming along doing inspections, anybody else coming along doing my job, fire alarm job, anything else like that, it just makes things nice and clear. And it's going back to what I was saying this morning about keeping the workshop tidy. It just makes everything run a lot smoother and your business run more efficiently. So I'm going to make some recommendations to them. I'm going to let them know they're a little bit undercovered. Usually, it's quite tricky, because usually a small business like that, I'm a little bit lenient and going, do you know what? A couple of CO2s ain't that bad. Maybe just get a water in. But there, I think they really do need a couple of powders just in the yard. And then the CO2, I'd probably bring into the office or put somewhere else maybe, or do something with it. I don't know. You probably could get, to be honest with you, where they've got the 2 CO2s, they could probably get rid of one of those.
looks, we took over this customer last year. I dare say they got a bit of wrong advice, because I could see that another company had installed the extinguishers initially, and I can't remember why we took. I have to go back through the emails, but I've vaguely remember them saying they had a bit of an issue with the previous company, and they didn't feel very confident using them anymore. So I've got a sneaking suspicion that whoever that company was, it might have just been like a local Sparky or something like that. It's like, oh yeah, I can do extinguishers, and he's just whacked a couple of CO2s in there, and they're the wrong ones. So we'll have that conversation. Really, we should have had this conversation last year. I'll have to look if we maybe put it on the cert. I think that again goes back to we need to be getting better at following up some of the stuff that we're doing. I think we get into a habit of writing stuff on the report, sending the report across, but is the report really being read thoroughly by these customers? So we need to follow that up and look into that a bit more. Likewise, there's the one around the corner that we haven't been. I just checked online, we haven't been to them recently by the looks of it, so I need to follow that up and find out why we haven't been there, because we had a good relationship with them, and I don't believe anybody else has been out. Have they started using somebody else? It is possible, but if that's the case, I wanted to know. Here we are. So it's a big industrial yard here. It's like a big ground engineering company. They do some wicked stuff, some big old machines and things here. I've brought with me a load of powders because I kind of guessed what I was going to need, and here it's brilliant because they've got everything all in storage. So basically what happens here is the company have a load of machines that go out, and they just keep a load of the extinguishers. So they have a load of machines that go out, and basically they just have a massive surplus of extinguishers all the time. So every 3 months or so they'll just give me a call, and they've got a bunch of extinguishers that need servicing, changing, and then we just change them all, replace any that need replacing with these lovely new ones. Change them all, replace any that need replacing with these lovely new ones, and then yeah, that's it.
Right, that's that job done. I've just got to do the paperwork. There was about 3 or 4 replacing. So with these, 2 things. One, powders we don't really discharge test up anymore. Sometimes we do, but generally now we just completely swap them out for new ones. So yeah, just swap those out. With those guys in general anyway, because the stuff that tends to need to be replaced gets so battered, it tends to be a new extinguisher each time it gets swapped out. Also, we do a bit of a deal, and it's just quicker for us to do that rather than mess about taking 50, 60 extinguishers back, unless it's like job lots and stuff like that. So their kind of thing is we'll just yeah, as soon as it comes off those rigs and it's been used, the chances are if it's due its 5-year test, it's battered beyond any sort of recognition. Like, we would have to refurbish that, refill it, do everything to it, and then just leave those extinguishers just for these guys because I have batteries all in place like this, so it's just not worth it. We can't use those extinguishers anywhere else, so we just take them out and just swap them out with new ones. So there's a few that needed changing there, a few 6Ks, a few 2Ks, but they're all good. And I found the 2 missing ones. Their maintenance shed there has got like 7 or 8 units, and the final unit's a paint spraying booth unit, and so the door's smaller, obviously it's all kind of tighter, so it's easy to miss. And I think the one before it is a welding bay, so they have those big welding screens up, and I think quite often, this is a fire issue, is the welding screens will block the fire exits, which kind of then shows if I can't see where the fire exits are and the exits are, they should be signposted. But we don't do the risk assessment here,